Well, hello, everybody. It's Mark Pillsbury here from Cruising World Magazine. And today we're going to be talking about the new Leopard 42 catamaran, which is being built by Robertson and Kane in South Africa. And lots of people will get to sail on the boat because it'll go into the charter fleet with the moorings and possibly sunsail. And so today we have with us Frank McGill from Travelopia. He's the Vice President of Yacht Ownership and Product Development. Sitting in front of a stunning Leopard 50 catamaran, we have Alex Simonis, the designer of the boat from South Africa. And last but not least, we have Michael Robertson from Robertson and Kane. He's their chief designer. So, Frank, you're the customer here. You buy the boats from the factory. So let's start with you and kind of talk about, what's the design brief for the 42? What did you ask these guys to design and build?
Yeah, we're the only customer, in fact, of Robertson and Kane. So the idea was to develop a new product that would be replacing the Leopard 40, but not really, because that boat sits in fact, between the 40 and the 45, the whole range has gone up in size because the 50-footer replaced the 48, and the 50-footer is obviously a much bigger boat. It also has a 4 and a 5 cabin layout. The 45 Leopard replaced the 44. The 44 is actually a little bit under 43 feet. So it was a lot bigger boat. So everything has gone up. So the 42 is the same way. So it's taking what we've done with the 45 and the 50, the galley forward that was introduced with the Leopard 40, keep all the DNA of Leopard, offer volume and comfort, but not compromising the performance. And then some innovations. Basically, we wanted to introduce a lounge, the same way we have a lounge on the 45 and the 50 now, without adding weight to the boat. So that's adding entertainment space. We wanted to add floor space in the cabin, more volume in the main salon, keep the door that access the foredeck directly from the interior of the boat, maintain the very compact helm station that is well protected for single handling, but also communicating with the rest of the boat, either exit to the deck, also be able to see the cockpit, see inside the boat. So keep good visibility, good performance, keep the DNA of Leopard with some innovation. The other element is the lounge that we have. We don't want to add more weight to it, but also we wanted to be able to access the lounge without interfering with the helm station. So the innovation on this boat is also like the 45 and the 50 to give separate access to the lounge without interfering with the helm station. So there is a very new element, which is an access from the deck on the port side, just on the side of the cockpit. That's very interesting. It's integrated into the design of the boat, and it gives an access directly to the lounge.
So just explain a little bit how the Travelopia Robertson and Kane connection works, because you buy the boats and resell them to charter companies, but also resell them to private owners. Could you just explain how the three brands kind of interact?
Yeah, so the whole relationship was started in 1996 with the moorings, strictly around charter boats for the moorings fleet, then evolved into globally into also developing boats for private owners. So what happened also is in 2005, the moorings merged with Sunsail. So we have three brands. Basically, it's very, very, very simple. Our charter business is around moorings and Sunsail, moorings being bareboat and crude, sailboat and power. Sunsail is exclusively sailboats and bareboating, which is without a crew. And then Leopard is the brand that we use for the private market with no charter elements. So we do not sell any boats to the other charter companies. So the yachts that we develop with Robertson and Kane are basically for those three brands. So either they go into the moorings fleet, they are actually offered as to our owners into the charter program with the moorings fleet, or they go to the Sunsail fleet, or they're sold to a private customer. So the difference between a Leopard and mooring Sunsail is strictly the fact that the boat is in charter rather than being in the hands of a private owner. And there's some differences on layouts, obviously, where the charter boat may be a 4-cabin and the yacht for a private owner being 3-cabin. That said, at 42, so initially will be marketed as a Leopard 42. The initial production of 15 yachts is strictly for Leopard for private owners. Then we'll introduce the Moorings 4200 in the summer. And the difference is the Leopard owners, the private owners, mainly order boats as a 3-cabin, 3-head, which is a difference versus the 40. We have now 3-cabin, 3-head version for Leopard. And then for the moorings, we'll have a 4-cabin, 4-head version, where the Leopard 40 before was a 4-cabin, 2-head version.
So Alex, it seems like the Leopard brand has been, of catamaran has been evolving a bit. You know, it started with, I think you guys were sort of revolutionary in coming up with a door going out the front of the saloon into the foredeck. But talk a little bit about what were some of the challenges into getting more windows, more space, more. I mean, it must be an engineering feat to put one of these boats together.
You know, our job as a naval architect is to match the demands with the reality forced upon us by the engineering. And the drive out of the marketing is, you know, this open space, you know, to maximize everything, island berth, 360 views, open spaces, level walkthroughs from the cockpit to the saloon. Like, all these items are important, but they pose construction challenges for us. And the beauty of working with a team, like what we're doing with Robertson and Kane and with Moorings or THL, is that I, as a naval architect, can really concentrate on those aspects, those engineering aspects. So I spend a lot of time on seeing, you know, what the requirements are and how we can match that in a structure, you know, which is still light and strong. So that envelope gets pushed with each subsequent model. You know, the spaces have to become bigger, the windows have to become bigger, the whole integration of what the interior means in the boat versus the structure, you know, sort of gets, that envelope gets pushed. As an example, a classic catamaran design would have like 3 or 4 really solid bulkheads, you know, with little openings in it, and you would have a little door to get through into the interior. Now it's all open spaces with large sliding doors, and that basically there are no bulkheads anymore. They replace with ring frames, and these ring frames are, each and every one of them are little feats of engineering because they're far more complex than a bulkhead. And that's what we're doing on a continuing basis, in close, you know, collaboration with the yard, because, you know, there's one thing to design, it's another thing to build it. So there's this constant match. Okay, how advanced can you do the engineering, and how can you match that with the production volume which the yard requires? And yeah, that's a never-ending process. Each and every time we try to improve on that with each model.
So on the 42, what have you done specifically to kind of increase the interior volumes in the hulls and, you know, make?
So on the 42, we've been mainly concentrating on the new building methods. We're using the resin-infused construction. So the 42 is going to be the first boat out of the factory, which is 100% resin-infused. Okay, I can talk for at least 20 minutes over the advantages of resin infusion, but to put it in a nutshell, what it allows us to do is get a structure which is lighter for its size, and each individual component in the boat we can make more compact, because when we do a resin-infused construction, the glass, the components itself become stronger. So it allows us to work with smaller components, to get the required structural integrity of the boat. So the structure gets pushed more to the background compared to the interior, because we're using a more advanced construction method.
Michael, why don't you jump in here, and how does this resin infusion, how does that change life in the factory and in the actual construction process?
It's got several benefits for our factory. Firstly, obviously, it's a very clean way of manufacturing environmentally, and also just a general workspace. It's also educating our staff, building up more skill, which is definitely everyone's taken a liking to and welcome the new technology. And also it reduces consumables, less material, as well as less weight. So it's definitely something that's taken off very well in our facility.
Cool. We'll get to the boat itself in a second, but Alex, I have one more question for you. You've designed a number of these Leopards, and I'm always amazed that when I go to the boat show and run into you and Frank to see the new model, the new ones look different, but they kind of look the same. So from a designer standpoint, when you sit down, do you kind of sit down with a blank screen? How do you have the continuity but come up with the new look and feel? It's quite a trip.
We don't start with a blank screen. We might have a blank stare at times when certain questions are asked, but the design process in general is actually quite a tedious process of small steps, of improvement. For us, we work with an enormous database, and every time when we start with a new design, the question is, okay, what do we want to achieve in a new design, and what have we achieved in the past? If we look at any previous designs, we're quite critical. We say, okay, what worked and what didn't work, and what didn't work, why didn't it work? Well, how can we improve? Or if we have a concept, we say, okay, it's really nice, that worked well, how can we push that further? As a simple example is the space frame structure we use to support the mast. On the very early designs, this was a very simple beam structure which was bolted to a main bulkhead, and taking partly the load of the rigging. And then as the designs progressed, as we were doing newer designs, we started elaborating on that space frame so that it could work more independently of the rest of the structure. And if we come now to this new Leopard 42, there we introduce a sort of composite space frame which works completely independent of the primary glass structure. In other words, like we have two separate components. We got the hull structure, which takes care of keeping the water out of the boat and keeping the interior in and keeping everything in place. And then we got the space frame structure, which is there to take all the rigging and sailing loads and make sure that it dissipates throughout the structure in a uniform way without causing any deformation. And that is a process. Yeah, we've been developing it nearly over the last decade now. And every time we do a new boat, we refine it, we push that envelope, and we come up with a better product. And the better product is that, the structure gets either lighter or it gets stiffer or stronger.
So,
to answer your question, we do not start with a blank screen. We carefully evaluate what we've done before, and then we make the next step.
So let's take a look at the boat. I can share my screen here and go through a couple of slides. And Michael, maybe you could, you and Frank could walk us through a little bit here. And so I shared this earlier, Frank, while you were discussing the design brief, just so people could sort of see what we're talking about. But Michael, so what's going on deck here? And I'll kind of click through, and you can talk as we get get to it, but this clearly shows the door in the front of the saloon that comes out to the cockpit and the lounge area up on the flybridge. Kind of walk us through that if you could.
Okay. Yeah, firstly, just an overall picture of the exterior look of this boat. We're continuing our family look from the Leopard 50. You got the continuous window, continuous hardtop, and then obviously some contrasting accents. A little bit sharper on this boat. We're going for a horizontal chine and plumb bow, but obviously the most striking feature for this boat in comparison to our Leopard 40 is the lounge on the hardtop. And definitely very proud of our forward cockpit door, so kept that for ventilation and easy access. The lounge on the coach roof, a lot of effort was placed on making it functional and lightweight. We definitely didn't want it to impede performance in any way. We integrated all the furniture into the actual GRP structure. So when you actually take the weight of it as a whole, what we've added, it's less than an average crew member. So one can be comfortable knowing that that added feature isn't going to impede on your performance. Access to that lounge, Frank touched upon, where it didn't interfere on the helm station. It actually also doesn't interfere on headroom in the aft cockpit either. And also it doesn't block your view from when you're sitting in the aft cockpit. It's not a ladder or a stairway that's stopping you from viewing the ocean. The access was carefully planned. We did a lot of changes during our mock-ups on getting the position just right. You'll see it's steps running on the port side. That's actually tucked inboard of the combing for added protection, and also doesn't impede on the aesthetics if you're looking at profile or viewing from inside the aft cockpit. Looking at the helm station, we've got steps leading up from the aft cockpit, and you can access the helm station from the side deck. So when you're at the helm, you got quick access either to the side deck or quick access to the aft cockpit or into the salon, which is something that has become part of our DNA and we're very proud of. You can communicate very well with the aft cockpit while having excellent visibility all around. With the enclosure, you're very protected, and you can comfortably sit two people there. But you don't need two people. It's a single-handed boat. One person can operate from the helm station. You've got all your winches there, 3 winches on this boat. All of these can be electric, and every line runs to your helm station. This is a proven location for our helm station. We see boats where the helm station is on either side of the boat, pushed really far aft. We didn't want to go in this direction because you can never really see to windward. And if you are looking to windward, you're looking through salon windows. And to do that, you have to reduce the UV factor on the window so you can actually see through it. And in rough weather, especially at nighttime, it's just something that we didn't want to consider. Having it perched on top of the flybridge or the coach roof, we didn't want to affect the mast height at all. We don't want to compromise performance, and we didn't do that even with having the lounge there. The boom was not raised at all. On the helm, you've also got a nice large 12-inch display. And a nice protected GRP hardtop for shade.
So we can't really see it in the rendering, but the mainsail control, the Traveler, will that be sort of across the back of the Bimini?
It's a bridle system, and the lines lead forward from 2 blocks at the aft behind the lounge, moving forward to that winch that you'll see on the just inboard of the helm station. So that winch inboard of the seat is dedicated just to the main bridle system.
And will it be a conventional mainsail or a square top main?
Standard is a conventional main, but with most Leopard owners, they choose the square top for the added performance.
One of the trends in catamarans these days tends to be, you know, the self-tacking jib. Sometimes the boats feel a little underpowered when you're going downwind. You guys seem to have pretty much stuck with a fairly traditional Genova. Any options for a sprit for off the wind sails?
Well, you know, there's a very good reason we try to stay away from the self-tacking jib, because, you know, like these boats, they need a lot of power in order to drive, especially in lighter conditions. And if you go for a self-tacking jib, you miss the slot effect. You have no overlap, and you know that you give up a lot of power for a given sail area, for a given sail plan. So what we got here with, you know, I like to refer to it as not a self-tacking jib, but a short-tacking jib. And the advantage is that, you know, we keep a small overlap, and that gives, that small overlap is sufficient to give that extra power, what you get out of a classic type of Genoa setup. And I think it's important because it makes for a better balance between the mainsail and the jib. And because the overlap isn't that big, it makes the tacking fairly easy. You know, these latest generation cats, they, you know, the 50 showed it as well. They pretty much can go easy to attack without backwinding the sail. So you can tack these boats pretty much like you would tack a monohull. You know, as you go into it, you can release the sheet. You don't need to backwind it, and then as you turn through the wind, you can already start pulling it in by hand. So because there's not a lot of length to pull on the sheet, it makes it really very easy. So I think the trade-off of the ease of having a self-tacking jib versus the loss in power is simply not worth it. You know, to compensate that, you need to put a bigger rig on the boat. And if you put a bigger rig on the boat, then you know, you put more weight aloft, and that translates straight away into more pitching motion, which makes for a much more uncomfortable boat. So we think this is simply a better solution. You know, it gives better sea motion, it gives better performance, and you know, once you got the hang of it with a short tacking jib, it is just as easy as a self-tacking jib.
Thanks. So let's share the screen again and take a quick run through the interior, because that's where obviously a lot of the design takes place and where a lot of the living takes place. And let me just pull this up here. So I don't know, Frank, Michael, we're in the saloon right now. Kind of talk about what's going on.
Okay, well, we've stuck with our forward-facing galley, and from this view, you can obviously see a nice nav desk. That nav desk can fit a 12-inch display as an option. What you see here is the dining table that comes standard with the boat. Can also drop down, become a bunk, but we also offer an option for private owners to replace that fixed table with maybe more of a stylish Ottoman-style coffee table, a loose table that can be moved around, and just create more space in the salon. We have a TV that's optional, that is on a swivel arm where you can actually watch it from inside the aft cockpit if you wanted to. The focus was just storage, liverboard. A lot of it was driven by charter. They've obviously got loads of provisions that everything needs a place. We spend a lot of time we actually have everything in our design office, and we make sure that it fits. But we also wanted to offer more. This galley you see is a U-shaped galley, opposed to the Leopard 40, which was just a L-shape. Going to a U-shape offered more storage, but also offered more flexibility in terms of appliances. We're now able to add an ice maker, a fridge, a dishwasher, or additional freezer without impeding on the storage. The skylight that you see there, we've had it on previous models, just not on the Leopard 40. You have a blind there to shut it off if you want to darken the area. Lots of windows, added windows aft. And the biggest departure from most of our sailboat range, when you look at this, is our interior colors. We've adapted what we did on the Leopard 53 PowerCat. We went with the more modern touch, more contrasting colors, classier finishes, and it just brings another level of luxury to the sailboat range.
So now we're down into it must be the owner's cabin.
Yeah, this is the owner's cabin on the starboard side. You'll notice it's a walk-around bunk, a lot easier to get in and to make the bed. We've got really nice indirect light all around, so it offers a warm feel inside the cabin. And there you'll see that optional TV that swivels out, and you can watch it while you're in bed. Big window aft of the pillows there, and as you can see, a big bulkhead opening, which Alex touched on. We really just wanted to open everything up, make all the cabins seamless when you're going through it. Just really wanted to create that sense of openness.
The solar panels. Talk a little bit about the systems on the boat, if you could, for a second.
Sure. Well, what we've done is we focused on just improving on a reliable, efficient system that can run on a 6 kilowatt genset. The boat does come with 4 210 amp hour batteries, but they can be upgraded to AGM and then even replaced with lithium. 4 solar panels, and we've optimized our aircon system so that it just runs with 2 16,000 BTU cruise air units, but with a soft start, and that's key in reducing that spike in power draw whenever they kick on. We like to say that you can run this boat without aircon, without a genset. But obviously for those who do want a genset, it's there obviously as a need for the aircon, but also if you want to upgrade, you can go to a 9 kilowatt as well. So what we try and do is just have a simple, reliable, bulletproof system. In terms of other systems on the Leopard 42, we've gone for the digital monitoring and the optional digital switches, which we've been offering on the other models, just not on the Leopard 40. The standard digital monitoring, you can take your MDF and you can monitor your battery levels, your fuel, water, engine controls, and of course also from a tablet or a smartphone with the app. But then you also have the optional digital switching where you can control all the lighting. The aircon units, we've gone for a quieter, not just more efficient, but also a quieter system where we're now using the sound covers. It reduces the sound by up to 50%. So that's a nice change. But I think the one factor that we haven't featured on any other sailboats now being on the 42 is the augmented reality system from Raymarine. This is a system where your chart plotter can display a view from a forward-facing camera and actually integrate it with the chart plotter.
Frank, we've heard about the design of the boat and the construction and the taking a little walk through. Talk a little bit about how you think the boats will be equipped for the charter market. I know you have a package that when you buy a boat to put into charter, it comes kind of with a standard equipment. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So the Moorings 4200 is basically the initial package. Like I said, the first run of 15 yachts is all Leopard, and then we'll start building moorings boats in the summer of 21 for the Caribbean season 2021-2022. So basically for Christmas, New Year's of 21. The 4,200 moorings, today, people always picture the charter boat as pretty simple. In fact, our charter boats very often are better equipped than private boats. So we have a package with all the electronics, the refrigeration, additional fridge in the cockpit, in the aft cockpit, important for the sun. We have a ham station protection. There's generator, there's air conditioning, there's inverter. We even have a water maker now, standard on those moorings packages. So it's very complete, charter ready. Obviously on the charter boat, we also have all the charter gear, cruising gear, all the safety gear, life raft. So it's a very, very complete package.
And as far as the Leopard private owner version, what are you thinking are going to be the more popular options that you'd expect to be putting on the boat at the factory?
Yeah, so we're launching a suggested package on the boat, which is a set away with all the electronics again, very similar to the moorings package, in fact, minus the water maker, because not everybody's purchasing the water maker. So we include gen, air, etc. The most popular options are, obviously most people take the complete electronics. They upgrade the screen to a 12-inch. Everybody upgrades batteries to gel batteries, additional batteries, inverter. Certainly aircon, particularly in the US market. In Europe, sometimes people don't add the air conditioning. Generator is taken almost every time, just because Michael explained, it's still very complicated today to run aircon out of just a battery bank. The lithium package, obviously, is becoming more and more popular. Some customers take it from the factory. They also look at different aftermarket solutions, but that's becoming more popular. It's not cheap, but certainly allows somebody at the anchor not to start the genset as much and store more energy via alternative source like solar energy. Otherwise, a lot of people take the bowsprit with the code 0, which is a very nice sail that works up to 60-degree upwind, but also works well downwind. So yeah, that's it. So that usually our customers are quite knowledgeable. They take a lot of options for Leopard. A lot of them live aboard. Certainly, most of them do some offshore sailing and passages with their boats. So they tend to add a lot of options to them. Yes.
So, what would you figure a well-equipped, not over the top, but a well-equipped Leopard delivered to the East Coast U.S.? What do you figure the price range will be?
Well, we launched yesterday. So, in fact, we had a kind of a pre-launch with some customers. So we sold actually 2 boats just from the renderings that you just showed on the screen. So the suggested package, which is a very complete sail away for Leopard, is $619,000. That's very well equipped with all the options I was talking about, including generator, air conditioning delivered to the East Coast of Florida. The moorings 4,200 has on top the water maker. All the charter gear is $649,000, charter ready, delivered to the Caribbean.
And that's pillowcases, dishes, silverware, everything.
Yeah, it has everything down to broom and deck brush. Those are introductory prices as we're launching for the first batch of boats. On Leopard, we actually have additional incentives on the first 4 hulls. Then once we enter full production, will be sometimes next year, there will be a price change.
I know the whole COVID crisis has slowed the project down just a little bit. When do you anticipate hull number 1 to splash?
So So there's several stages in the launch of a new model. Hull number one will be launched in October, and there is an initial testing phase that takes place at the factory, by the factory, in a very confidential manner, if you like. And then there is a second phase of testing where we get involved. Myself, there's Ant Whiting, technical director, that is based in Tortola at the Moorings and Sansa base. And then we conduct those testing in Cape Town, which is a validation of the work that we've been doing for the past 18 months. We had a delay due to COVID-19 and the closure of the factory. So initially the boat was supposed to launch in the summer of 21. Instead, it will be launched in October. The testing that we're going to be doing is taking place in November. Then there's a handover and QC period. We'll take ownership of the boat in December, and hull number one will be presented at the Miami Boat Show in February of 2021. We're also going to have the introduction of the 42 at the Monterey International Boat Show in La Grande Motte, France, in the spring for the European market. Then the boat will be in Sanctuary Cove, provided the boat shows obviously reopen, in Brisbane, Australia, for the market of Australia, New Zealand. And then at that point, we'll be into hull number 15 or so, and the boat will start delivering to yachts to customers.
Well, I know I can't wait to get to Miami and go out for a sail. I mean, it looks like a beautiful boat. I think we can kind of wrap things up here. Any last thoughts, Alex?
Well, I know pretty much with Frank, like there's, of course, it's a crazy year with COVID-19, but, we've been putting it to good use in a way on this project where there was, extra time and, to develop things more. I'm very excited about this boat. I think it will be an excellent performer. I think we're going to make a big step forward where we show lots of extra space and combined with good performance. I think it's a very, very mature product, the Leopard range, and I think this will be the best boat yet.
It's a good way to sum things up. Michael, anything you want to add here at the end?
No, I share the thoughts of Alex. Basically, very excited to see this product that's a perfect combination of performance, comfort, and styling. I'm also I almost feel like this is my favorite boat that we've launched, and can't wait to get on her.
Frank, you're the customer. You get the last word.
Yeah. As a wrap up, no compromise on how well the boat sails, no compromise on safety, no compromise on the helm station, allowing protection, but also good visibility and be connected with the rest of the boat, and introducing new features like lounge, separate access to the lounge, island berth beds, all 4 cabins, and a very good looking boat. So I think no worries about, the sale of this yacht. And it's in its current environment, I think it was important, even though we all got affected by the COVID-19, to still introduce new product in this environment and keep pushing on product development. We had more time, the team had more time to work on it. And even though it's not the best time, I would think, to invest in something new, we still pushed hard to, even during the pandemic, to continue to develop boat and make sure that we had a new product introduced this year in that size range.
Well, good work all around, guys. Look forward to it. And thanks for this little sneak preview of the 42. For Cruising World, this is Mark Pillsbury. See you at the boat show.